Okay, can I be real for a moment? I didn't realize how much fun it would be to have chickens. I thought it'd be cool. I've had fresh eggs before, and living in Italy, growing up, we our neighbors had chickens, so they would bring us fresh eggs, and so I knew that the fresh eggs were going to be a huge hit in the house. But it wasn't until I got chickens that I realized how much I love them. And I know you're like, "Tammy, why are we talking about chickens? I'm not getting chickens. I live in the city. I live in a neighborhood. Like I don't." But I thought it'd be fun. So it's towards the end of the year. It's time to reflect. It's time to look back at the year. It's time to make plans for the next year. And so I I was thinking about how like what lessons have I learned? And I thought it would be fun because I have actually learned a lot from watching my chickens. And I thought it'd be fun to like, here's my 8 lessons that I learned in 2024 that I learned from my chickens. So, and just bring a little sass to the podcast, a little flavor, right? Because these chickens are they're chickens. They are, you would think, pretty like one focused mind. Well, there's so much we can learn from simple things. There's so much we can learn. And taking time, I want to encourage you to take time to reflect on your year. And so, as you listen to this and as you listen to the reflection and kind of the connections that I've made, how are they showing up in your life? My name is Tammy. I'm your host of the Full Weight of Joy podcast. I've had people recently ask me, like, why do you call it the full weight of joy? And to that, I answer, well, we're going to carry a weight. Do we want to carry the full weight of the world? Do we want to carry the heaviness or do we want to carry the weight of joy? Do we want to choose our heart? Choose your heart. And with this podcast, my goal is to help you see that it's worth looking within to find what our calling is. It's worth looking at our strengths and our weaknesses. It's worth realizing that our gifts, our talents, our strengths are actually not about us at all, but we do need to look within to find them. And when we do find them, we get to serve, we get to bring an impact, we get to create a legacy that we can leave others. And even more so, we get to partner with God. We get to see how He created us and this calling and purpose that we have in our heart, this more that we know that we've had success. We know that we're good at things, but we may not understand why. We don't know how. And we get this feeling that there's more in our life. And then we're like, well, I don't even know what to do with it. Well, I want to encourage you that you're in the right place because that's what I love doing is I love helping you figure out what it is and what to do with it. And so let's look at it through the lens of chickens today. So the first one, okay, so the first one every morning, I love watching the coop open. Now we have predators in our area. So over the last couple of years, I mean, we've had chickens for probably about a year and a half, almost 2 years now. And the ones we have today are not the ones we started with, unfortunately. But we learned that there were actually like raccoons came in and took our chickens and we learned that in the morning we could not let our chicken door open automatically, that when we did that, the raccoons caught on to it, the timing, and we knew that it would open right before dawn, and then we just pick them off. And so what we do is we wait until after the light has completely come up. But let me tell you, the chickens are not fond of that. Because they start the day with vigor. And so that's the first lesson I learned is start your day with a bang. Like you open that door and they shoot out like they have been cooped up. They shoot out like they have been cooped up for weeks. Like this is the first time they've seen the sunshine. And when I was looking at that, I was thinking, how can I model that? How can I, because I love a good morning routine. Well, that's our vigor. We get to create a morning routine that lights us up, that we look forward to, that as soon as that our feet hit that ground, we get to dive into whatever the morning routine can look like. Whatever you want it to look like, just enjoy it. And then start it with vigor. Like just go after it. As soon as the door, they bust out, they run out. It's so funny because it almost looks like they like pick up their bodies, pick up their feathers, and they're like running across, like they're trying to get to something specific. And they know exactly where they're going because the moment they get there, they stop. Like it is a sense of urgency, a sense of purpose. They are going to that spot. And it's just funny to watch because it's never the same spot, but it's like they know when they get there. They just go to it and then they get to work. The next one, the number 2, is surround yourself, or who you surround yourself matters. So they have each other. We have 9 chickens. We have 5 reds and 4 of some, but they are a chicken breed that we were told could hold their own against the reds are the sassy girls. And so we needed a strong breed, and they actually are doing really well together. For a long time, they were very separated, but now they've learned to accept each other. And so it really doesn't matter. They know that when the dogs are out, that they don't have to pay attention as much. Like you can tell that they're calmer. The chickens are when the dogs are out. They also know, like we have kittens now. We have 3 kittens. We have Litten, we have Sprigatito, and we have Tofu. Litten and Sprigatito, they're Pokemon. So if you can be cool and know that. We had someone who was staying at our Airbnb, and the parents were like, "Those are interesting names," and the kid was like, "Mom, they're Pokemon." And so I was like, "Oh, but yes, Litten, Sprigatito, and Tofu, because why not?" And so it matters. These kittens also know that where the chickens coop, as soon as that's open, they will look for, as soon as the last one leaves the coop, they run in and start hunting, because we've had one of the reasons why we got cats is because mice. And so our cats are mousers. And so they know that who you surround yourself matters. If we surround ourselves with the chickens, then we will have mice. If we surround ourselves with the dogs, then we're safe. Who are you surrounding yourself with? Are they bringing you energy? Are they supporting you? Are they encouraging you? Are they stealing your safety? Are they stealing your joy? And because who we surround ourselves matters. There's times that we are the ones who get to walk in the room and bring joy. There's other times that we need a balance of us producing and they produce. Like it's a symbiotic thing, but it matters who we surround ourselves with. Number 3, sometimes you lay a rotten egg. Doesn't mean you stop laying. I have had a lot of growth this year. I have made several big mistakes, things that I've talked about, some that I am still unpacking and figuring out what went wrong. Relationship, it's first time I've had, teenage boy. So I'm working on how to relate to my kids now that they're teenagers, and how they're going to be, flying the coop in a couple of years. And then not only that, is that sometimes you're expecting it, like it looks good, but then you crack that sucker and it smells bad. We had a few months, it was just so hot and we had some of our chickens would lay in the afternoon instead of in the morning. So typically they're pretty routine, which I'll get to, and so we would, like, 1 out of every 5 eggs was a rotten egg, and you didn't know what it was until you cracked it. And so it doesn't mean they stopped laying the eggs. It didn't mean that we stopped gathering the eggs or that we threw them out all the way. When we would grab a separate bowl, and every one of them was cracked separately in case that one was the rotten egg. We looked for it, but it didn't stop us. Sometimes we make mistakes. Sometimes we go in wrong directions. That doesn't mean we stop, ladies. Doesn't mean we stop. Okay. The next one, this one kind of goes with, who you surround yourself with matters, but know who supports you. So these chickens, when Isaac goes out, because he's typically the one who fills the water, fills the feed. He's the one who, during the week, he's the one who goes and lets them out. Like they know Isaac. And when he leaves the house, a lot of times wherever they come, they'll start flocking to him. Or if he starts calling to them, they will come running. They know that he's the keeper of the feed. And so, yes, we have a lot of space for them to eat, but they love their corn. They also know, which I love when I go, they know that in the evenings, I take out our scraps. And which again, this goes to another one in a little bit, but they know that I bring the treats. And we'll go, and it's so funny because I will walk up to them and they know I'll pet them. That they do this little waddle thing and like scoot down, and that's how I know that they're ready for me to, whether it's pick them up or to pet them and talk to them, and then they go on their merry way. But they know who supports them. They don't do that to anyone outside of the family. If we have someone just stopping by and they're like, oh, can we pet the chickens? They don't, we walk up and they will come to us, and then we let the guest touch them. So know who supports you. They know, the chickens know who they can trust and who they don't. For you ladies, who do you know you can go to for support, for help, for guidance? It doesn't mean we go to everyone for that, but we can go to someone who we know will pray for us, who we know will give us sound counsel, who we know will help us in the moment versus the person we don't have that relationship with. All right. So another thing, the number 5. So we have, start each day with vigor. Who you surround yourself with matters. Sometimes you lay a rotten egg. Doesn't mean you stop laying. And then know who supports you. The next one is stay hungry. These chickens can eat 24/7. They are constantly eating. And to me, when I looked at this, it's like, it doesn't matter if they eat earlier. It's just, they're constantly looking for grubs. They're constantly looking for something. It's okay to stay hungry. It's okay to stay moving forward. And when one place stops producing, move to the next. But stay excited. They get excited about eating, whether they're just eating feed or eating, the table scraps, the potato peels that I'll bring out. But stay hungry, ladies. Do what you need to do to stay excited about life. Don't be afraid to roost alone. Many times we crave community. We crave support. I mean, we had 2, the know who supports you and who you surround yourself matters. And also know that sometimes we have to roost alone. You will see when the chickens are in their roost box, all the other ones are out eating. They do it on their own. There's times that you need to be silent and you need to have solitude and you need to be in that space between just you and God to figure out your next step. There is joy in that. Learn to listen to the inner voice that you have. Your dream is yours. Your dream is not going to be understood by even your closest friends, your family. Your dream isn't going to be there's times that your dream's not understood by anyone, but if God's put it on your heart, then develop it with him. Go after it and look within and get quiet and ask him what to do with it versus always going to someone else. We've got to stop looking for external validation for things that God's told us internally to do. There's many people in my life who don't understand exactly what I'm doing. Sometimes I don't understand exactly what I'm doing. But it's okay to take the steps alone, but know who support you and know who you surround yourself with, because that'll give you the strength to walk that last few bits alone, or to step back and walk a little bit behind, knowing that I'm not actually behind you. I'm giving myself time to really look at what I need in the moment. What is God telling me? Where is my calling? What's my purpose? What's my zone of genius? Sometimes we have to walk into a quiet room to get God to talk the loudest. It's because that's how we hear him. Don't be afraid to roost alone. The next one is number 7 is consistency breeds results. I notice that when we have consistency, when like chickens are laid are released the same time every day, and then the evening we lock them up as soon as the sun goes down. Now they do not like to go back to the coop early. Like they will exit the coop as soon as you open the door. It doesn't matter the time of day, but they do not like to go early. But this consistency breeds results. They don't lay eggs if there's an outlier, if they're stressed, or if there is like that's one thing we know that something's going on if they're not laying the eggs, because consistency is what allows them to do that. When we have the good routine, when things are out of whack, they don't do what they normally do. It's not boring to be consistent. Okay. For all my Enneagram sevens out there, it's not boring to be consistent. Find ways to make it fun. Find ways that you can bring consistency in your life because it allows for innovation. Consistency, like I know that sounds a little crazy, but when you are on, like, think of a baby's sleeping schedule. When they're on a schedule and you break it, it's a lot easier to go back. The same thing is if when we have habits, our habits really do matter, and our habits can determine our success, can determine how far we're going to go. And our habits decide if we're going to be healthy or not. Consistency breeds results. And I know that if you want that golden egg, get out and do the things every day. The chickens don't lay eggs for a couple of months when they're, of course, it makes sense. They're little babies. They have to have a consistent routine for months before they start laying. Sometimes you don't see the results from your habits right away. In fact, normally we don't. Doesn't mean you stop doing them. All right, and then my final one, my final lesson that I have. There's a couple other ones, but I was like, these are the best 8. The final one is celebrating simple joys. You can tell when the chickens are happy. You can tell because they go in and they like give them a good dust bath. Like we will put out like ash for them, and they flock to it, and they get so excited rolling around in it. And it's good for their skin. It's good for for keeps pesticides away and keeps parasites, whatever pesticides, no parasites. There we go. It keeps them healthy. But that simple joy, just watching them roll in the dust. The puddles when it rains, to watch them because they have water. They have water in their coop. They can go back to it and get water anytime. But when there's puddles, you can see how excited they are to go and drink from the puddles. Like it's a whole new experience for them. And it's just a simple joy that they have. And then also just the like potato peels. I go and whether it's carrot peels, potato peels, like ends of carrot, all the rubbish that we have, and I take it to them and they get so excited about it. What can you get really excited about? What simple things can you reach down and you can look forward to? Because that's really is the joy of life. It's about the simplicity of life. It's about being grateful for what you have and being content with what you have. God talks about when you are content and you steward small things well, that's when you get more. And I think that's with the joy too, is if you're going to miss, like, it's easy to really appreciate the big joys in life. But if you can appreciate the small little things that happen, that's where the goodness is. I'm trying to come up with this word, the strong word, because when we are appreciating the simple joys, that's when joy is easy to find. And I mean, joy is my goal. Joy is what I want. And not just happiness. Happiness is fleeting. Happiness is circumstantial. I can have joy. Doesn't matter the circumstance, because I know it's the little things. It's the waking up and realizing that God's for me and not against me. It's waking up and realizing that I can watch the chickens run across the run. Like they are so funny. Maybe I need to get a video. I'll put it on like Facebook or Instagram or something of them like getting out in the morning, because it's so fun to watch and it just makes me happy. It just brings joy to my heart. So what are the simple things in your life that you can look forward to? And if you start these 8 things, these 8 lessons for business and life, like how do you start each day? Who are you surrounding yourself with? We need a mixture of those we can serve and those who are serving us. We need that balance, and we need people we can just be with. Sometimes you lay a rotten egg. Doesn't mean you stop laying. Sometimes you make mistakes. Doesn't mean you stop acting. Know who supports you. Know who you can trust in the time of need. And this may not be the same group that you surround yourself with, but surround yourself with those people as well. Stay hungry. Go for it. Like do what you need to do in order to just always keep stepping forward. You don't be afraid to roost alone. Sometimes that silence and solitude that you are fighting is also the moment that you'll be filled up. It does more for us than just like listen to the inner thoughts that you have. Listen to that inner dialogue. I talked about blocks, these limiting beliefs. A lot of times when we get clear and we get quiet, that's when we find clarity on what our inner blocks are, what our limiting beliefs. And over the next couple of months, like I'm really going to start hitting this hard of we all have them. You don't have to be afraid of them. But once we acknowledge them, we can remove those suckers. We don't have to believe them. They're not actually true. So don't be afraid to roost alone. Consistency breeds results. What you do daily, the habits that you're creating, the habits that you want, they're worth it. You may not see the results right away. It may take days, it may take weeks, it may take months, it may take years. If God's put it on your heart, he's gonna see it through. So find ways to be consistent and go for it. And then the final one is celebrate simple joys. When you can find a simple joy in every moment, in every day, in every experience, even those things that are really challenging start to bring a whole new meaning. So I hope that you like take these, ask yourself, like, how do these chicken lessons apply in my life? Because I know that when I started writing this and I was starting to think about the different things and I got quiet and got creative, it was a lot of fun. And I realized these chickens actually taught me a lot this year. I've had a lot of fun with them and something as simple as chickens. Friend, what is your simple thing in your life that you can get a lot of joy out of? I I think back of all of the toddler years that I had with my kids and the simple things that they would do. Part of me, I realized that I didn't embrace it as much as I should have, as I wanted to. And I look back at the reasons why. I was a single mom. I was grieving and trying to explain to my toddlers that their dad, who they adored, wasn't coming. So giving myself grace for that. What do you need to give yourself grace for in your life? And what now can you find for joy? Our circumstances, those trials we go through, that's where we learn. And that's when our character is really developed. So we don't have to avoid them, but we do get to look and see what our lives are now and what we want for our lives. So I hope that you had fun with these lessons that you learned, that I've learned. Hopefully you can implement them. But I want to encourage you to look back at this year. Because if you are the exact same person that you started January 1st, 2024 as, why? What's holding you back? And why were you afraid to grow? Because we're called to grow. The fire refines us. If you didn't grow, then why? Also, I want to challenge that, because what if you did grow and you look for ways that you've grown? All right, friend, I am excited about 2025. All of these lessons, all of these things that I've been learning, and all of these, as God has been, basically molding me, refining me, and my message and what I have to share as I've been stepping into my calling, and as I've been having the privilege to walk with others as they step into theirs. I know that 2025 is going to be an amazing year. I have some podcasts coming up with, I'm talking about my word of the year and my theme of the year, which I'm super excited about. And it's for you too. Like it's what I want for you because like information without action is dead. Faith without works is dead. It is about who we're becoming and what we're doing. And I just want you to be on this journey with me. Like we're on the journey already, so we might as well journey together. So I just want to say thank you again for listening to this podcast. If you have not left me a rating, a review, I would please consider doing that. This helps get the podcast out. It helps the algorithms and the powers that be to recommend the podcast to others who would get a lot from it. I know that when we start looking at who God created us to be, we can find the confidence, the bravery, and the capability as well to go for what He's called us to do. We can shine and we can step into who He's called us to do when we know why He's called us. And that's what I want for you. So if you are interested, if you want to be on this journey with me in 2025, get on a call with me. Let's talk about what this journey could look like for you. What is that dream in your heart that you are ready to grab the courage to chase? That you're ready to be brave and step into who God called you to be. And I want to encourage you and I want to guide you and I want to empower you. I want to let me go on this journey with you. Let me love you because I know that this was what lights me up, because when I see someone step into who God called them to be and the ripple effects that happen, like the world gets brighter. All right, friends. So get on my calendar. It's in the show notes and it's a free call, no obligation. Just tell me what your dream is and let's do it. And if you don't know what your dream is and you're like, Tami, I know there's something, I just don't know what it is. And I definitely don't know how to get it. Come with that too, because that's even more fun. And just come with what you have where you are, because that's good enough. That's enough. Friend, with that, choose joy until joy chooses you, and go and watch some chickens and see how they live their life and model after them. All right. Bye for now.